What's raging, gamers, and welcome to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. How you doing, HenricK The WrecK?
I'm doing pretty good, Chris. As always. How about yourself?
Hey, everything is amazing. We survived the tropical storm here in Southern California. It wasn't as bad as what everybody was hyping it up to be. I mean, I know we got the 7,000 Doppler, trying to do its thing, trying to help save the people. But we do want to hope that everybody is safe, especially in the Ventura County and the west end of Los Angeles. Thoughts and prayers are definitely with you guys, but we survived the storm. We're here. We're ready to rock and roll. Isn't that right, HenricK?
Absolutely. There was also an earthquake, so it was a double whammy at that point.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of world are we living in the year of 2023? It's pretty wicked. That's all I can say. But, man, we always like to start off the show with the bang. We always like to look out for very funny viral content. And, there's always different types of gamers in the party lobby. And I think we've all experienced these type of individuals playing with us. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Thought when we were younger, you were my boo. Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I don't know why you guys have been ignoring me for like the past hour, but yeah, that's pretty much the story. Hello? Fuck's sake! Yo, I think I'm lagging.
You know what's funny? I'm definitely the guy that's always forgetting that I'm on mute. Because I just don't like to always have my mic active.
I was going to say tag yourself, because like that definitely happens to me too every now and then. I would say, though, when my friend group plays, usually we're all the singer. We're not even necessarily singers, but we end up singing on mic, with the boys.
So what's that go-to song? You go like, my mind's telling me no.
It's more of fruit salad.
Yummy,
the
yummy. Wiggles. Okay, you throwing it back.
Exactly.
Okay, that's dope. Well, I know the comments were active when it came to this one particular video. One person wrote here that we're going to go ahead and showcase on screen. Never seen someone with such a punchable face. Okay.
Okay.
You might have a punchable face too, but we're going to save it for some in-game battle. Second person wrote, this was incredibly cringe. I mean, isn't that the point? I mean, you're going to have a cringe moment.
Absolutely, that's the point.
We also got here, how many people are going to make this same video? Listen to your haters. The fact that there are so many videos that have these kind of same experiences, because that's the reality when you jump into a party lobby. I think there's nothing wrong with it. The kid's funny, man. I thought it was funny.
Yeah. No, it's just a little fun humor. Anyone can really relate to it if they played games with their friends. And what's the problem?
Yeah, what's the problem, man? Why are you being such a hater, man? What, are you waking up and just smacking your keys with your hot Cheeto fingers, and you just coming in with all spicy? Damn, son. Well, I know this one guy got me really laughing, HenricK. There's a funny video of him playing the new MLB game, and there was a funny situation that occurred, which is definitely a glitch, but you have to laugh about it.
There is no way he just ate that like a fucking bagged lunch. Are you serious? Oh, man, he's still pitching?
You know what? I think the Dodgers might want to invest in that gentleman to be in their ballpen. I mean, that was incredible.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's as efficient as a ball throwing machine at that point. Like, you can just hit him in the head and he's going to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, why invest in all that money to get Shohei Ohtani removed from the Angels to go to the Dodgers when clearly you can use video games to, dispel all the, the gimmicks that are not necessarily there that you could discover on ESPN or The Athletics. You might find something. But the comments were really funny when it came to this video because one guy wrote here, it was only 103. Relax, bro.
Only, right?
Man's got that Jimmy Neutron dome. You ain't lying.
Big brain.
And last, like a bagged lunch. That's funny, man.
No,
I like that.
comment.
I might have to finesse that from that dude.
I might have to take that as well.
Oh, I was hollering, dude. Like you're gonna be playing like Call of Duty. You took that like a bagged lunch. Why aren't you dying? You loser. But hey, this is, very funny how, stuff like this occurs. And, we were literally talking about how, in the past shows about how video games can be an educational tool in real world scenarios. And there was a documentary out on Netflix with Johnny Manziel, and what went viral was he logged in 0 hours on his iPad watching gameplay clips. And that became a real problem for his agent trying to get this man landed on an NFL roster. And come to find out, there's another gentleman named Tyreek Hill. He's a wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins, and he had a similar strategy to Johnny Manziel. I got the clip of here speaking to the media.
Nah, so I feel like Madden has a good tell of how good players are. So I just play Madden the night before, and I go look at all their ratings. So let's say, for instance, they had Steve Nelson and Derek Stingley over there, 2 phenomenal players, by the way. I just go get on Madden. I go to the EA rosters, then I scroll down and see what their awareness is, their speed is, and their strength, and that's how I get a good tell on them.
You know, I like what Tyreek Hill said because it's so true, and I'm going to be a little biased. I'm rocking my Pittsburgh Steelers because I'm very excited for the football season to kick off on the 7th of September. But, you know, we got this young prospect called Calvin Austin, and he's going to be a wide receiver for us, and he never played last year. And I kept seeing that 67-yard touchdown bomb that Mason Rudolph threw him, and I go, damn, this cat is fast as hell. And I got Madden 23. I went in and I saw that he was in my lineup, but he wasn't in my starting lineup. I see this kid's got a 95 speed. Henrik, ever since I've made that change in Madden playing online, this man is like Kenny Pickett to Calvin Austin, the deep Hail Marys. It's working. I feel like I'm playing as if Tyreek Hill is on my team. So hopefully it applies to a real world situation. But
hey, I mean, if anything, he is learning about, you know, what his competition's like, because they do have to be a little accurate on those games, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Hey, man, I mean, there's a reason why, even with the NBA 2K, for example, why players get so hostile towards these ratings. I mean, if you're going to act like none of this applies, that's crazy. And I know people were hating on Tyreek Hill. There were even comments out there that were saying, imagine the DB guarding him and he got him beat because he 79 overall on Madden, but he really playing like a 93 overall. Does he not understand that, you know, Madden ratings fluctuate over time? I mean, there is a fixed rating at the beginning of the season, and then it moves. You don't think Tyreek Hill has that figured out? We also got a second comment here saying brain dead strategy. Well, he might have been using this when he won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, so maybe you're brain dead.
Yeah, I mean, if the results speak for themselves, there you go.
Exactly. And he goes, Cap, definitely watch this film. I'd have to agree. I think it's a mix of both. But I do think why not try out these different, you know, scenarios? Why not utilize video games to kind of help elevate your game? And Tyreek Hill is dispelling it for everybody. It can be a tool for football players out there. And, man, Henrik, we got a jam-packed show for everybody that's tuning in live to Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. So are you ready to rock and roll, my man?
Absolutely. I'm ready to rage.
Hey, let's rage, baby.
Hey everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Aliens Dark Descent. If you like XCOM and are a fan of the 1986 movie Aliens, then Aliens Dark Descent might be just for you. It's a game that takes the dark atmosphere of the Alien movies and puts it into a real-time strategy game. But is that enough to entice gamers? Let's find out by first going over the gameplay. The gameplay of Aliens Dark Descent is methodical and tactical. The game is a top-down squad-based RTS or real-time strategy game. The main gameplay loop involves commanding your squad of soldiers into multi-leveled maps to complete mission objectives. All the while, you are evading the pursuit of xenomorphs, the aliens from the Alien franchise. It's recommended to sneak by as many as you can, as once the hive is alerted of your presence, they won't stop coming until you exfiltrate back to base. At some point, you will have to fight some xenomorphs to complete objectives, but delaying that till the right moment is key to survival. Fortunately, you can exfiltrate at any time from the map, but it does eventually come at a cost when the game starts to give you a countdown timer till game over. But what is our objective? Why are we here? Let's take a look at the story to answer these questions. The story of Aliens Dark Descent of course takes place in the titular series' universe. Specifically, the year is 2198 on the moon of Lethe on the USS Otago. A shuttle arrives with cargo that happens to be xenomorph aliens. They are then released onto the ship by an unknown saboteur. After it all hits the fan, the Otago goes down and the Cerberus protocol is activated, which means full quarantine and sterilization of Lethe. In other words, everything is going to get nuked. The colonial marines you command are then sent in to deal with the alien infestation, as well as find a way to make the Otago functional again to allow escape from the planet. Ultimately, Aliens Dark Descent is a punishing game that requires you to make split decisions and plan ahead, since mistakes cost you greatly. But now the question still stands: pause or repeat?
I think it's easy to forget that this is a game based off of a movie franchise. Like, the entire time that I was playing it, I forgot about that fact entirely because, you know, I am a horror fan and I do enjoy watching horror movies. And of course, I've seen the Alien movies. And the entire time I was just like, oh, wait a minute. This is based off of a movie. And I just forgot about that. It was actually interesting because that means to me the gameplay itself holds up more than the atmosphere and the design and everything, which I think, you know, the game isn't perfect. By all means, it's not perfect, especially not even in its own genre of the XCOM tactical squad-based games. Like, if I would to say between the two, I still think XCOM is better and probably more polished in general, but comparing the two, I think that this game still has some merit and something that, you know, it's built upon that is a fun experience for most people who enjoy that kind of gameplay. At the same time, it definitely shows its cracks in some points in the game. Like, you know, the story is kind of... It's kind of wishy-washy here and there, and the motion capture, if it's even motion capture, it might not be, but like the lip flaps of the characters, they're completely off, so and the models all look kind of just like from the last generation. You know, the game can look great sometimes, but like for some reason, just the models look absolutely terrible in comparison to the environments. And I think that is something to notice as well. When you're looking at the whole game, it's kind of like you can't ignore that there's better things out there, even in its own genre. And for that reason, at least for me, it's a pause.
Yeah, I mean, I really wanted to like this game, HenricK. I feel like it's still one of the better installments of video games for the Alien franchise, but you know, there's too many game-breaking issues in the game that's really going to pull you away from it. One of them is the cinematic scenes. I am very big on storytelling in video games, but if you just can't figure out to get the graphics to match the voiceover actor to the video game character's moving lips, that pulls me out completely. Thought some of the villains look really cool, really bitching, but there's just something about the game crashing 24/7 really is going to pull you away. I mean, some of the examples that a lot of people are reporting is that your squad could get stuck in a dark room, or maybe you might, alternatively get your quest objective failed, or it's stuck in progress because a squad member might be stuck in a wall, or might be lifted in the air, or sometimes they just disappear in thin air when you're trying to get a survivor. And that's the sort of thing that if you have to keep replaying a certain segment and then keep having to restart the checkpoint, that's going to draw you away from the game. And, you know, people have been trying to do this whole, like, you know, this probably would have been cool if it was on like a mobile Steam Deck. You know what I'm saying? Like, this reminded me a lot of like Killzone Liberation when they try to veer away from the first person shooter and try to do this cool, 3D, third person environment. But, you and I were both on the same page. It's definitely a pause. I'd actually like to see Aliens venture off into a first person shooter kind of a game. This kind of style doesn't necessarily work out for me.
Well, they have done first-person shooters, but a lot of them were more of the older generations of consoles and just game industry in general. There was that Alien Isolation game. Yeah. That was more like a survival horror, I'd say, more than anything else. This game, though, I did have high hopes for it. I did want it to succeed, and I think it did do pretty well, considering everything, the whole package. I think it sold decently, and people were all right with it. But it's just like it could have been so much better than it was.
They really could have done what Predator did. Predator Hunting Grounds. That was a really fun online player shooter game where you could be in squads and the maps are very alive and active, and you even get the opportunity to play as the iconic villain if you so get selective, be chosen within the server. I think Aliens needs to kind of go down that approach if they want to really truly win back the gamer fan base and be really excited again for this franchise, because we have to remember this film came out around 1986. So the millennials are were on the threshold of kind of watching it. We were like 13, I guess, when they try to revitalize it with I can see the guy. Remember, he was in The Piano. Oh gosh, Adrian Brody. Remember, he did it, and Topher Grace was a part of it, and then it didn't really necessarily go anywhere. So if they want to really revitalize this game all over again, maybe they need a really giant cinematic release with the bitchin' video game IP to follow with it. But other than that, it sounds like we're in the same page. We're both agreeing on a pause.
I think so. Yeah, we're both on the same page. It's a pause. Decent game, not necessarily the worst game out there, but if you're looking for a game in this genre, just go play XCOM or another game. Like, even the older Fallout games, I'd say are more of a fun time than this one overall as a whole package.
Yeah, I think that is definitely fair to say. So, hey, let us know what's good. If you're vibing with the game or you're not, please comment below, because we would definitely love to know your thoughts on Aliens Dark Descent. And again, HenricK The WrecK, amazing video as always. And for all the gamers that are tuning in live, stick around as we got more left on Rage Quit Video Game Talk Show. What's good, listeners? Welcome to Patch Notes, where my co-host HenricK The WrecK and I discuss gaming news, industry talk, and so much more. So let's get it. We have breaking news. Microsoft is restructuring its proposed Activision Blizzard deal to transfer cloud gaming rights for current and new Activision Blizzard games to Ubisoft. The transfer of rights is designed to appease regulators in the UK that are concerned about the impact Microsoft's proposed $68.7 billion deal will have on the cloud gaming competition. And what have I been telling people? What have I been telling you? The cloud gaming is going to be so rampant. It's going to be totally insane. Clearly, people were, it was trending number 2 on Twitter this morning. Incredible. So we got comments here live here on the show, and one person wrote, so does this mean that Xbox Game Pass does not cover Activision games? So if you want a subscription service to Activision games, you'll have to sign up with Ubisoft instead. And Tom Warren, who was one of the people who broke the news late last night, said, no, Activision Blizzard games will still be part of the Xbox Game Pass. Ubisoft will now control which games will be available on Xbox cloud gaming outside the EU markets. Another person wrote here, and then Microsoft buys Ubisoft. You think that's going to go down, HenricK?
Hey, it might, they might just pull a 180 on that and be like, okay, you guys are happy, now we're going to take you back.
I mean, especially if they're saying it's going to be like a 15-year deal. I mean, who says like give it time? 5 years down the line, we start seeing this massive move occur. We got another comment here that says, I think it's clear and obvious that Phil and the entire Xbox/Microsoft team want to get this deal done. So if appeasing the regulators is something they need to do, then they are going to do it. Another person wrote, it's important people know that Ubisoft's not to blame for the changes made by the useless CMA. That is here in the United States, by the way, the CMA. So don't throw your hate at them. Just be happy that Ubisoft Plus is improving. Another person wrote, excited about it. And last, I don't think we're going to see a huge difference on the retail gaming side. I'm curious on what your thoughts on that. Will we see an impact?
We might not, considering that, I always feel like the cloud gaming services, they're their own entity when it comes to what's offered. And I think that as long as there's that alongside still being able to buy the game itself, outright, I think it's not going to really make too much of an impact to one or the other. Now, if all of a sudden they start to not sell games physically or anything like that, then maybe then it might make a difference, which they are kind of going towards that whole non-physical selling of games as the standard. So we'll have to see. It might take a few years, but big moves might happen.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. And I know CD Projekt Red was definitely loving life the last month when we found out that, it surpassed Ubisoft and, in the stock market. Well, that is definitely changed as of today. So, yeah, cloud gaming is very much vibrant. I know people are still kind of iffy about, latency issues and whether, high sustainable games, a part of Activision Blizzard, can actually hold up to this new world that we're going to be living in when it comes to video game playing. Because telling you right now, the console's dead, man. I mean, that's why everybody's freaking out behind the scenes going, oh my Lanta, we're all going to be starting to stream. And, they're seeing the effects of what Netflix is bringing, Amazon, and even Hulu, and Disney Plus, matter of fact, when it comes to the world of streaming cinematic films and television shows. So we'll definitely keep you posted. Again, that is breaking news. But we also got another topic that I want to share with you guys, and it's no secret that Bethesda's latest venture, Starfield, is the talk of the town. Every fan in the gaming sphere is anxiously awaiting to play the Space Odyssey RPG. However, in the weeks leading up to Starfield coming out on September 6th, the studio is doing something pretty unusual for its history, giving out review copies of Starfield a full 2 weeks early and giving them to a lot of small and big-time content creators, as well as the press. And what ended up happening, Henrik?
We got leaks!
We got leaks, baby! Oh, my Lanta. And
hey,
you were saying something to me.
Where is our review copy, though? If they're giving it to small creators, where's ours? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, we got one of the more badass bitchin' shows that is live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So, I mean, come on, Starfield, the people, if you're watching, you can send me a copy. I'd absolutely love to play this game. Oh, I can't wait to play some Starfield. But that didn't stop the PR team from, definitely sending out some subliminal tweets, if you know what I'm saying. There was one gentleman named Matt Fry. He is the senior director of PR at Bethesda. He tweeted the following news of the early leaks. Everyone knows I don't like leaks. Media covering someone's leak, I like even less. When the big outlets do it to get around embargoes they have on their own code, oh, I really don't like that. Should say even small, meaningless, and incorrect ones. What are your thoughts on all this, Henrik? I know a lot of people, in the PR world probably are just going, dude, what the hell? I mean, we're trying to allow the opportunity so we can get a mass appeal just a week out to be able to showcase this amazing gameplay that Starfield is going to project to the whole world. But none of this was supposed to come supposedly until around August 31st. And what's your thoughts on all this? Do you think this is good publicity or bad publicity?
I mean, any publicity for them is going to be good publicity because, it is really the game that is the talk of the town currently. I would say it's a game that a lot of people are really looking forward to. I know that I'm really excited for Armored Core that comes out this Friday, but I can't even just ignore the fact that people are really, really excited about Starfield. And, me as well. I'm also excited to see, what they've done. It's taken a long time for them to get to this point. I think, though, at this point, companies need to kind of realize that leaks are inevitable, whether it be for a game, for the next iPhone, anything. It's going to be inevitable that there's leaks. So just take advantage of the fact that you're getting some free publicity and hype building. I know it sucks at the same time because you have this whole plan. You're going to be like, we're going to give this little snippet here and this little snippet here and then this trailer here. And then all of a sudden now everything's leaked. I know that sucks. But at the same time, the diehard fans that are really, really excited, as long as your product is good, after the leaks come out and people see that it's good, they're just going to be even more excited.
Yeah, I mean, it's so true. But, also at the same time, though, Henrik, there was a lot of very funny chatter when it came to the leaks. Like, I know one of the biggest ones was the title screen being leaked. And look at this gentleman, what he wrote about it. He's like, the physiognomy of start screens. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I mean, remember, we were laughing about it in pre-production. I'm like, who the hell even tweets like this? I mean, holy moly. And he goes, the start screen of a game can reveal a lot about how rushed the team was and how much pride they took in their work. Starfield's start screen either shows hasty shipping deadlines by a passionate team overworked or a team that didn't care.
I'm sorry, does a title screen matter? Really?
Yeah. I mean, look at Ghost of Tsushima wasn't a whole lot. I mean, does everybody remember how you launched into Skyrim?
Yeah, it was not a whole lot. Emblem. That's it.
That's it. Because again, it's a title screen. No one cares. We also got a comment here that says it's a cheap click engagement at the cost of the developer's hard work and consumers who are genuinely excited for a game who now may have it ruined for them. This is why we can't have nice things. And then there was another meme here that said, the modding community is prepared for Starfield. The before of a beautiful ship to after Thomas the Tank Engine. I don't know about you, but that would be actually kind of cool. I love Thomas the Tank Engine. I grew up on Thomas the Tank Engine. I definitely had the wooden rail.
You would love then that there's a mod for Skyrim that changes the dragons to Thomas the Tank Engine. It's great.
Man, are we blessed to have it all, Henrik?
Absolutely.
But it seems like someone fixed up the Starfield menu screen. We Todd Howard there. Just everybody's favorite premium battle passes and loots. And, come on now. It's all fixed. And then we got ad-based. And then we got here first spoiler-free details from Starfield reviewers. Final product looks better than what was presented. Gorgeous environments. No bugs so far. Outstanding draw distance. Lots of details in interior locations. A source leaks from reviewers, so they're keeping it salty. So greatness awaits. But, I think that's cool because, Bethesda's always kind of been joked in the past about being bug theta. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was about to say. It's not a game studio that's known for releasing games that are just like completely going to work at day one.
Yeah, I mean, one of the PR groups were not happy about a certain influencer that even said good things about the game, saying, I've already played 15 hours of the game, and it's remarkable. Like, I am not finding those glitches and bugs that we typically find in a Skyrim or Fallout, IP. And so to hear that is very exciting. But also, there was something strange that was coming out of the PR department for Starfield. And it's also worth noting that Bethesda's head of publishing, Pete Hines, took to Twitter to recommend gamers watch a space documentary, like, before playing the game. Like, I'm very confused. Like, I mean, he's saying, Starfield fans should watch Unknown, Cosmic Time Machine on Netflix if you haven't. The Hubble launch of James Webb Telescope. People who really work to discover what's out there. So I don't know about you, Henrik, but before I even say what I was about to say, we might as well, I gotta get this thing off the screen. Get off the screen. Bring back, Chris Collins and HenricK The WrecK. But I got a teaser trailer, so let's kind of like see what Pete Hines means and whether that actually will even be a factor in your gaming experience for Starfield.
When we look at the sky, beyond the stars in our Milky Way, we can only see darkness. The James Webb Telescope is our next giant leap in our search for life.
To see the first galaxies in our universe. That distant past is where creation happened.
We've never had the technology to see that first part of the story of the universe. To be able to look back in time to see the very first light.
Henrik, I mean, this is too funny. I mean, do gamers not have enough imagination to prepare themselves for a space odyssey such as Starfield? I mean, I've never heard of this before. Watch something before you play?
Yeah, I mean, my friends and I, we always give a game a ding if we need to go watch something or read something before playing a game. Because why are you going to make me do that? Why are you going to make me go do something else other than play your game? Like, we're here, we're ready to play your game, we want to play your game, and now you're saying, oh, if you want to get the full experience, go watch this hour-and-a-half documentary.
Yeah,
Come on.
I mean, it definitely seems very, very strange. I think we all, at this point in time, understand that space exploration is definitely a credible phenomenon, and the fact that this is about a telescope, okay? I mean, I have no idea what that has to do with anything that Starfield is trying to project in this game. Maybe that has something to do with the storyline per se about what set up the tone for Starfield. But other than that, I mean, I can't imagine too many gamers going down this route and actually checking out this film from Netflix called Unknown Cosmic Time Machine, even though it's only about like roughly an hour.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll get some more answers when the game finally officially releases. Maybe then we'll see, like you're saying, hey, maybe this is the beginning of the game. You know, the Hubble, the telescope goes out, and then from there, human civilization expands its reach into the stars.
Who would have known that a telescope sets the tone? Starfield. Hey, but Henrik, I know there's some very wild news when it comes to the Xbox 360 community. Can you let the people know what's up?
Yeah, it's time to pour one out for the homie. The Xbox 360 store and the Xbox 360, they've been around for so long at this point. And 7 years ago, Xbox 360s stopped being produced. So it's been a while. And finally, Microsoft announced that they're going to be shutting down their digital storefront on July 29th of next year, 2024, meaning any of the games that are on there, if you haven't bought them, you're not going to be able to buy them ever again. You can always re-download them if you bought them. They're going to give you that option at least. But if there's a game out there that you like that is on the 360 store, this means you've got a year to go and buy that game.
But and I don't mean to cut you off though, Henrik, but it's like it's been 18 years of the Xbox 360. I think it is time to move on from the console. I'm very surprised that people are still holding on to this machine. I understand that it's our childhood, but come on now. There's a point in time where Microsoft needs to start focusing on other assets beyond the Xbox 360. But you know, there are some people that have said, you know, hey, listen, you know, Call of Duty just recently brought back the servers for the old Call of Duty games that could be playable for the Xbox 360. How much longer will that last?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be up to the developers themselves who are maintaining those servers to choose, are we going to keep our game online services active, or are we going to just shut them down? And I mean, that kind of is bad timing, I guess, that they just brought back the ability to play these games, because now they're giving you a time countdown to next year. It's like, okay,
pretty much.
If you want to play these games, better play them right now, otherwise you might not be able to play them ever again.
That's true, and not so much of it is on just Microsoft. It's really up to the game publisher whether they want to even continue to still run those servers on the Xbox 360. They might run it for a couple of years, but again, you know, my kind of thing, especially with the breaking news, you know, they're going to transition a lot of these games into the cloud gaming service and then hopefully bring that online gameplay to the environment. Because if that's the case, that is going to be so freaking bitching. But because of this news, people were not happy, Henrik. So we got comments here for everybody tuning in live on wherever you're streaming this show. And this one person said, "So long, partner. It's been a good road." One guy wrote, "My childhood just spontaneously combusted." What were you about to say, Henrik?
I was just going to say it has been a long, long journey and a long, good one.
Yeah, it's definitely an iconic piece. It's going to be in the Smithsonian one day.
Exactly.
To the good old days, we salute you. Which, there's nothing wrong with praising a great, product. It's just, guys, I'm sorry. It's time to move on. We got another person that said, "So many games gone from existence forever without any means of preservation. Rebel against the digital future. Digital is temporary. Physical media is forever." We also got, "Might get a physical copy of Modern Warfare 3 now as a result. Feels like used 360 game prices will go up pretty soon due to this." Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. If it's going to be accessible to a lot of cats with cloud gaming, I have a hard time thinking that, Samantha. Also, we got, at this point, I'm surprised that people have still a functioning 360. I know, where's the Ring of Death? People really have their console going for 18 years? Holy moly, I need to know the secret about what everybody's been doing. But I know multiplayer games on the Xbox 360 will reportedly continue to function after the shutdown, like I was referencing before we read off the comment. So, but that's really up to the game publishers to decide whether they want to support, the game servers. But there's also something that's important to mention as well. The Microsoft Movies and TV app will stop working too. Is that a major bombshell, or will that actually apply to Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus?
I'm sure that whoever's still using that has access to whatever they're watching on some other thing. Granted, my parents were using our Wii to watch Netflix for the longest time, all the way up until the last day that they dropped support for even being able to do that on the Wii. But even they've moved on from that at this point. The Wii's whole thing shut down long ago.
See, you just addressed something that I was a bit skeptical and trying to figure out, because it's like I did not know that when it came to Nintendo, because when I read Microsoft Movies and TV app will stop working too, I kept thinking, oh, does that mean that's just Microsoft app when it comes to maybe renting a movie that's through the Microsoft store? But are you saying that you think that this will apply on all ventures? How would Netflix and Hulu and Amazon feel about this? I think that they would love to have their streaming service available on all consoles, all devices, whether it's going to reach its 19th birthday by the time it shuts down.
Well, it depends on whether or not they want to keep developing it for that. Because at a certain point, when something gets too old, like these consoles, if Netflix is still working on there, that's awesome. But that means that someone who works for Netflix is making sure that it works on the Xbox 360 still. But when, Netflix keeps updating their app and updating the things on their back end, on their server side, eventually things don't work anymore. If no one's maintaining that, eventually that means it goes down. It might not go down immediately. If it's still up, it might not go down right when this support drops, but eventually it'll go away, I'm sure.
Do you feel, because Netflix is getting in the world of gaming, because Joseph Statton's on board, with Netflix to start developing AAA games, do you think this is Microsoft's move to say, hey, cool, glad to see that you guys are a part of the world? Let's not even forget Amazon Luna. They're also in the same field when it comes to cloud gaming. We understand that you guys want to play ball, but you ain't going to be playing ball on our console. You guys are ousted, especially when it comes to the old school consoles.
You know what? I think that Microsoft is here going to quote Thanos. I don't even know who you are. Because literally, I think that I think that Microsoft is such a giant company and has such a reach into gaming that Netflix definitely does not have, and probably never really will unless they make some huge marketing decisions. I think that
we will
right,
see,
at least right
because
now, they are Thanos. They're just like, I don't even know who you are.
Well, I know the Screen Actors Guild would definitely argue with you and say that, at least in the cinematic world, including television, they said the 3 top dogs are currently Netflix, Amazon, and Disney. Because remember, Disney has that partnership with Hulu. You know, they have it. So these are the 3 meccas of the entertainment business, and they pretty much dictate what comes and what goes. So yeah, I mean, very crazy development. And also, you know, this follows suit with the Wii closure back in March. I remember we broke that down during season 1, where the completionist bought every single game before it left the digital storefront. And even back, I believe it was 2021, where even the PlayStation Store shut down on the old gen consoles. So, you know, people are starting to transition. Maybe Sony didn't necessarily see that cloud gaming was coming. My personal opinion, I feel like Nintendo knows what the hell is going on. That's why they took it off that back in March. And now that we're seeing this move from Microsoft, and even the breaking news to kind of try to appease the regulators in the UK to go, hey, you know, we'll give off the gaming rights for cloud gaming over to Ubisoft. That is the impact that's going to be happening in the next 5 years to come. So, hey, keep a lookout.
Yeah. Just as one last comment, though, I think that the people who are upset about this, though, would be less upset if the games that are only on those consoles, whether it be the PlayStation, the Wii U, or even now the Xbox 360, they wouldn't be upset if the games that are just on that were accessible on some service, whether it be cloud gaming or on even just a modern platform store to buy. They wouldn't be upset then, because the whole thing is those games might not ever come back.
Well, I think I'll speak on like Nintendo. You know, there is that Dolphin emulator that's been very popular in the year 2023, and that is really allowing PC gamers to be able to play Nintendo games, and that's always been kind of the grunt for Nintendo. It's like, man, I'd really like to play Zelda, I'd really like to play Mario, but I don't want to really invest in this console because it's a very family-oriented, casual console. You know, I really kind of want a variety of all style of games. That's why I think Nintendo's trying to venture into that route, going into the cloud gaming, because I think they recognize that they can still keep it within the console, but they have to branch out and bring their video games to the TV screen. That's with the smart TVs. And I think that is what the future will come to Nintendo. Whether they hold their games in their own separate Nintendo gaming app, or they venture off into what Microsoft is doing and allowing Ubisoft to control, you know, the cloud gaming rights. We will have to see. This is all very fresh and new to everybody, just like how AI is very new to everybody in the year 2023. So trust me, HenricK The WrecK and I, we will be all over this the more we get news about this early development of cloud gaming. But
absolutely,
man, crazy stuff. But hey, we might as well move on to the next topic if you're willing to go that route, HenricK The WrecK.
Absolutely. Tell me what's going on with Modern Warfare 3. I'm hearing some new things are going to be explored in that game.
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. So Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, releasing on November 8th, is doing something completely different with their story mode campaign. Sledgehammer Games is bringing the sandbox experience for the first time to the multi-billion-dollar franchise, steering away from the linear cinematic stories for open combat missions. So players could revisit a location several times without seeing a particular story beat. They could choose to go rogue or go silent, and can even breach and clear a room in which the players can choose which tools and weapons to use and where to enter. It's very cool because even the voiceover actors, you know, you want to get loud, they're going to start screaming, "Oh, shoot, you're going crazy, fam." Or if you're trying to get it silent, they're going to start whispering, "Hey, man, come on. Let's do our thing, baby. Let's do our thing." But because this news came out, we got a few comments here that we'll go ahead and showcase live on air. First comment that we got was, "It's not as spicy a take as it used to be, but for some reason it still bears repeating. Call of Duty campaigns are fun, and anyone who hates on them probably doesn't like fun things." I think this is a very, very cool thing. But, you know, what do you think, HenricK? Do you like that they're trying to switch things up?
I mean, yeah, Call of Duty campaigns are usually pretty good and pretty fun experiences. I think that for a lot of the games, it's actually the highlight of the game as a whole. Because some of the Call of Duty games, people just did not like the online experience. But I don't know. I feel like maybe this is new for Call of Duty, but there's plenty of games out there that have already done this. My favorite genre,
I'll
the
put you on
immersive
screen. I'll
sim.
put you on screen. Who's got it first?
The immersive sim genre, which is one of my favorite genres. You got games like System Shock, Deus Ex, Thief, Dishonored. They've all done this already, where you can go into an environment and go around it however way you want. You can sneak around, take out the guys that way. You can go in guns blazing, especially in a game like Dishonored. You can just teleport around, boom, teleport around, boom, teleport around, boom, and then you disappear and they're like, where'd he go?
Yeah, I hear what you say, but what do you say to people like Deus Ex that's like, isn't that kind of considered an open world? I know it's not like a massively open world, but I mean, they drop you off in like different like villages and locations, and then you can do multiple different quests. This is making it sound like this is a singular quest, but it's so massive, the quote unquote story mode map, that you can kind of go path A, path B, path C.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And in that case, I'm sure there's a game out there that's already maybe done something similar, but hey, I'm not knocking them for at least trying something new, because I think that they kind of, should at least try something new. Because why not? Maybe it'll be something they'll keep doing in the games after this one, because I'm sure that people will enjoy it. Everyone's going to have a different experience.
Well, yeah, I mean, trust me, HenricK, you're not the only person that's like, oh, okay, this is really funny that, Call of Duty is trying to claim this new terminology, like we started open combat missions, because, even one person wrote like, this won't be the first game. Infinity Warfare did this technically. Yeah, we understand it's all within the Call of Duty franchise, and even Gene Park, who wrote this groundbreaking article, he even responded back and said, yep, it did, but this is far more wide open, because he had the opportunity to kind of get first gameplay on it. And so just hearing that alone seems really, really cool. You also got another comment here that says, bigger doesn't always mean better and last. So I'm kind of getting some Crisis vibes from this. Not open world, but huge levels where you get to choose your method of attack and approach. I think that's probably the closest to what I see Call of Duty trying to do. So it is funny to see that they are trying to take ownership of open combat missions. I think that's where I would probably lean towards you, HenricK, and say maybe Crisis did it first. But I want to know from you, do you see more developers following Sledgehammer Games when it comes to abandoning the linear storytelling in video games?
Well, I do agree that Crisis did it, but did Crisis do it well? Not really. And I think that's really, because like Crisis, it wasn't really so much about the story. The storytelling in Call of Duty games has always been the focus of the story, with, good gameplay thrown in. But I feel like when you throw a game into an open world, or, some sort of maybe even concept like this, you kind of lose a little bit of that storytelling aspect, because you can't as easily craft a story like you can with a more linear progression of the story, or rather the gameplay to tell the story. Because, take a game like Modern Warfare 2. That is a fully linear storyline from A to B. If this game is saying, okay, well, everyone's going to have a different experience in these levels, that means that the storyline beats are going to definitely be a little bit different, because you're not going to have moments that this other person had. You're not going to have moments where you're going to be necessarily always having to go in one direction. Like maybe instead of going through the field in the ghillie suit, you can do like an underground tunnel or something, just as an idea. But
don't you think that Call of Duty recognizes that a lot of the gamers that are buying the very expensive product, it's like $70+ game, that they always give you the option. You want to download just the campaign mode. You want to download just multiplayer. You want to download just zombies. I think that they want to start to see a little bit more clips start to circulate where they're going, wow, there's so many different experiences on how people are tackling or approaching the different style of missions that are going to be provided in Modern Warfare 3. But even the more and more you're speaking out loud, Henrik, you started reminding me of an amazing game, which I would consider would be up there with Crysis when it comes to open combat missions. And that is the Sniper Elite series. I mean, that's technically a massive game, not an open world, but it's in a pretty big location, and you get to dictate how you want to approach completing all the objectives. But so, I mean, again, to me, this is personally not something new, but let's just consider this, Henrik, and I'll leave this on a final note, because last year's Modern Warfare 2 earned $1 billion in 10 days.
Man.
Insane.
Yeah.
just marinate.
I mean, how
on
insane is it, Chris? Really, though, because give it in perspective.
I know that's one of my deadly words. I need to stop saying insane, but this is very, very worthy of an insane statistical stat, and we will see if Modern Warfare 3 will follow up on that. So
yeah,
Xbox.
I mean, we really will have to see, because some Call of Duty campaigns have been just hit or miss. I want to say that they've been doing a pretty good job so far in the last, couple games. So hopefully they keep that up. But we definitely will, keep an eye on that. But if any of our viewers have any ideas of what might happen, what your thoughts are on this, let us know. We're excited to hear what you guys think about this whole Call of Duty change that they're trying to bring in.
Hell yeah, that is so freaking true. And man, it seems like this has been a massive week for Xbox. What's going down in the world of Microsoft?
Well, Xbox just implemented a new stance in terms of combating online bullying and harassment. So they implemented in their multiplayer games a enforcement strike system. And we do have a couple graphs we can pull up that are provided directly from Xbox that kind of like gives a visual of what I mean by a strike system. So strikes are recorded for 6 months. And if you get 2 strikes within a 6-month period, you then get a suspension for 1 day from Xbox Live services. You can't play online at all. If you get 4 strikes in the 6-month period, then you're suspended for 7 days. And if you get 8 strikes in a 6-month period, then you're gone for a whole year.
But they're going to suspend you, though, Henrik, from Xbox social features, parties, and party chat, along with multiplayer and other services. So that's pretty massive. You got to really try.
Oh, yeah.
You got to really try to get 8 strikes. And I do want to kind of zoom in on the top left corner of the example of strikes added for each type of action. This kind of made me laugh, Henrik. I mean, why is Microsoft treating this like a video game? I mean, they have a point system, and they're going, different strikes have different infractions and da-da-da-da-da. But, like, I'm looking at profanity, cheating, sexually inappropriate, harassment or bullying, hate speech. Why is cheating only +1 and not a +3? I mean, isn't that the very essence of what every gamer hates, is that you're jumping into Warzone, you only have a tiny window to escape from your wife, your kids, or whatever, and you're just trying to have a fun time, and you got some dickwad online who is shooting through the walls or flying in the air, floating cars. I mean, why is that only 1 point?
Yeah, I do agree. It should be more than 1 point, maybe at least 2 points. Or just, if you're cheating, that's a immediate 1 year ban right there.
Yeah.
At least that's in my opinion how it should be handled, because you're right. People get home from a long day at work and then their whole experience gets soured because of some cheater in a game.
Yeah, it's totally sucks. And I know comments were very active when it came to this groundbreaking report. One person wrote, I just hope there's human control in the appeal process. People get reported just for being a good player, or if someone feels you cost your team the game, got to have some sort of vetting process. I think that is very true. I kept thinking about our conversation that we had about this before we jumped on air, and you're thinking about Call of Duty lobbies, playing 6 versus 6, you're playing Search and Destroy. You might find somebody that you think you're vibing with, and then all of a sudden you get invited into a party lobby of 4 people and you're the 5th member, and all it takes is a couple strikes to get you listed. I mean, what if they just kind of get you riled up and you cuss a little bit? You get slapped with a few strike infractions. I mean, it's going to get messy if they allow an AI tool to dictate this. You got another person that said the ban is only for voice chat / messaging and multiplayer, I'm assuming, because if they remove access to your games or even Game Pass, that's pretty messed up. Well, you're pretty messed up if you're a hate speeching ass mofo. So, I mean, you go into the system knowing that those are the terms and conditions. So, sorry, Eli, I don't feel bad for douchebags that are elevating it to the level where it's that bad where we got to oust them out. We also got nothing quite like the golden era. And yeah, that's very true. I'm going to miss these times. I mean, the message text said back in 2014, haha, sorry, I'm with a couple chicks and I let one play the second half while I'm making out with the other, laughing my ass off, get off my D or I would have wasted you if I play the whole game, but I'm too busy getting women, which you probably don't know about. I mean, that's very PG-13. I mean, there's some very X-rated comments back in the day. It's going to be, I don't know how it's going to all work out. You know, is the Call of Duty lobby's going to get quiet? I have no freaking idea. But I know Ryan, who works with IGN, he personally tweeted out to Phil Spencer and said, surely Xbox P3 had to sign off on Xbox new enforcement strike system. Phil, why does it take 8 strikes to get 1 year ban? Here's why that doesn't make sense to me. In Xbox own words, in 2022, fewer than 1% of all players received a suspension. So when you think about that, so 99% of the gamers are actually good people and 1% are actually making it hell for the rest of us. So cool that Phil Spencer actually responded. He said, thanks for the feedback. The enforcement system is designed to empower players and, to your point, to create a good environment for people that play by the rules. Strikes are assigned based on the severity of actions and can result in more than 1 strike for an infraction. So Ryan wrote back, great to know that an infraction can result in multiple strikes at once. That directly addresses what I was getting at in my previous tweet. I appreciate you taking the time to respond. And I got 2 more comments here for people. One person wrote, wow, yeah, I wish they were being even bigger dictators on your free speech. No, Xbox Live is not your safe space. If you cannot handle the idea that someone might say something you don't like, don't come in the first place. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of how Twitter operates on a level. You know, they essentially took out a sitting president on Twitter. So, I mean, it's not controlled under the Constitution. So technically Microsoft can do whatever the hell they want. And last, we now live in a world of snowflakes. COD lobbies about to be pretty quiet on the Xbox. I know, right? Are all the Call of Duty people going to transition over to PC or, Sony, PlayStation consoles because of this news? I mean, I think it's very, very wild.
Well, now Call of Duty is owned by Microsoft, so they might still be able to enforce something even if you're on a different platform because you might still be using their services.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. You know, your gamer ID is definitely linked up with Microsoft, so maybe I might have to figure out where you play that game.
Yeah, but
exactly. You know what I'm saying? But even beyond this system, Xbox has also retained the rights to permanently ban players for, quote, the most serious violations, including illegal activity. I don't know what that means. They were very vague about what that meant.
Probably better if we don't know what that means, because that means that we're not doing illegal activity.
Yeah, are they talking about how they're not utilizing a phone and they're like sex trafficking through a party chat on Xbox? I mean, what the hell are they talking about? I mean, are they doing drug deals where they're like, hey man, I'm dropping off the 250 kilos of cocaine in a submarine in Southern California. Can you meet me, brother? And he's all talking with his Xbox, 360.
They're just in a Call of Duty lobby talking like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone else is like, what's going on?
Yeah, they're like, I didn't even know that there was illegal activities like this in the Xbox party chat. We have no idea. We didn't do our due diligence to even care to even do the research on what that even means. But you heard it. Xbox is definitely putting the strike down on those who are bringing that toxicity to the gaming world. And we might as well branch off into our last topic for the day, which is Baldur's Gate 3 has achieved near universal acclaim and is one of the highest rated video games of all time, ranking ahead of iconic titles like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5. And, let's go ahead and just showcase that top 10 highest rated games list, because it was knocking out The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wind out of the rankings. And so
Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild.
Wow, hey, that's my boy right there. I like that.
Want to make sure that the fans don't get mad at you.
They're gonna be chopping off my throat. I definitely do not want that. Trust me, I love Breath of the Wild. It's a phenomenal game, and I guess that gets to my point. I mean, you look at this list, Henrik. I mean, is there a certain game that you see on here that you're very surprised is here?
I mean, my personal opinion is, the Soul Calibur, the first one, is great. I have, so many great memories of playing that on the Dreamcast. But does that really deserve to be in the top 10? I don't know about that.
Hell no. No one's talking about Soul Calibur. They weren't talking about it 5 years ago. They weren't talking about it 10 years ago. Probably had its last hype when it was on the GameCube. But come on, we got Mortal Kombat, we got Injustice, we got Street Fighter. None of those games apply for at least the Soul Calibur roster. And the fact that it's in the top 5. I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, or what about Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2? Do you think that's justifiable that it still sits at 98 today as the number 2 game of all time?
I mean, that one's probably a little bit of nostalgia glasses talking for people. I know the soundtrack is great. That introduced me to so many great bands.
True.
But I don't know if that really should be in second place. I mean, I'm a little biased for place 1. But I think that's a little bit more justifiable, considering that if you go look at Twitch, Ocarina of Time is still very, very viewed on Twitch because people are speedrunning it and, just playing through it and doing all sorts of things with it. It's one of the top rated or top played speedrunning categories.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you also got Grand Theft Auto 4 and Grand Theft Auto 5 on the list. I mean, let's be real. Grand Theft Auto 5 deserves to be a lot higher on this list, and I would definitely have replaced Grand Theft Auto 5 in the 9th spot for, it could sit in the top 5 for sure. I don't know where it would sit. I don't have my list in front of me, but I can tell you right now, we just literally celebrated 10 years of GTA Online on August 15th. So the fact that it's being celebrated to this day as being one of the greatest online experiences in the gaming universe, and it's only sitting at number 9. That is wild. I mean, for me personally, Henrik, I would have easily removed Pro Skater 2 and Soul Calibur out of the mix. I mean, where is God of War 3? Where is Elden Ring? Was there a game on there that you felt like in your world, like that you felt should have deserved any of that placement?
I mean, I'm always going to say Nier Automata because that's one of my favorite games. Maybe to the point that you're a little tired of hearing about it, Chris.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you love celebrating the game and you're just as much as passionate about it, hell yeah. I mean, as you should. I mean, I was a bit surprised to see Fallout. Fallout 4, maybe New Vegas. What about Skyrim? I mean, Skyrim is constantly being played 24/7. I mean, it's like anytime it shows up, or even, the online experience with the Elder Scrolls, I'm just kind of baffled to see that is something that is not being recognized on this list. And I know the comments were active. People definitely wanted to celebrate Baldur's Gate 3 because they feel it deserves to be in the top 10, because one person wrote, yes, this is really a once in a decade kind of game. Crazy. It is also $60, no strings attached, no shops, no passes, no DLC, just one huge and complete game. Yes, that definitely needs to be celebrated. It's a 75 to 400 hours worth of gameplay. But Let's not kid ourselves. They would have definitely prepared themselves for DLC if they knew that they would have the concurrent players that they were going to get. Because remember when we reported that they thought they were only going to get like 100,000, and then they broke 700,000. I mean, that is Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, we also got another person that wrote, the time dilation with this game, it's like the opposite of psychedelics. You think 20 minutes has gone by, then look at the clock, and it has been hours. It's now 3 a.m., and you have to be up at 6. It's truly insane how big companies don't realize that the best-selling strategy is actually making something good. I'm 50 years old and started playing on an Atari 2600, and this right there is the best game ever done in the history of video games. What is crazy about this game as well is how a new game with new characters and classes will have a very different story. Every story arc plays out differently depending on who is in your group. Currently on my second playthrough, and it's way different than my first and last. Me playing Baldur's Gate 3, Starfield released in about 15 days. So yes, with that point being said, we know that Fallout's not on the list. We know that Skyrim's not on the list. Can Starfield potentially make it in that top 10 greatest video game of all time?
Well, I think that Baldur's Gate, what it really has going for it is that it's not a huge studio behind it. Starfield, they've got a huge studio behind them making this game. So there's always going to be a little bit of that bias.
You think that's actually a factor? You really think that like indie game publisher and
so.
A mainstream, it really kind of fluctuates with gamers and really kind of dictates what the hype is and what's not?
I do think so, because I feel like AAA studios are held to a different standard than a lot of indie game studios are, even if you're comparing that to Baldur's Gate 3, which I would say is AAA game quality. Compare that to Bethesda. They have a certain standard that they are held to by the fans because they know what they have in terms of resources to develop a game. So if they come out with a game that is unpolished and buggy and what have you, of course they're going to get criticism for that. Whereas Baldur's Gate 3 or any indie game developer, they're not going to have the same level of resources, so they're going to have a little bit of more leeway. I will say, though, at the end of the day, Baldur's Gate 3 is AAA level quality. So it's possible to deliver a game that is great and not be a AAA studio and have AAA quality. It's just you have to be passionate about the game and you have to have at least some resources, because obviously they're not going to be a team of like 4 people. They had like 400 people to work on that game, and
that's
a couple
true.
Of, a few years to work on it too. It wasn't just like an immediate thing.
Yeah, excellent points. And I'm sure people are probably wondering, like, dude, Baldur's Gate 3, it's been out for a couple of weeks. Why haven't you guys brought up Baldur's Gate 3 in pause or repeat? There's a reason. There's a game. It's 75 hours.
Game is
400
very,
hours.
very long.
We need to have a little bit more time before we can actually start dispelling whether it's a pause or repeat. Okay, we're still having some fun with the game, so keep a lookout. Might not happen in season 2, might happen in season 3, but trust me, we will get around to talking about what's shaking up the pot a little bit, because obviously we got Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, we got Hogwarts Legacy, now we got Baldur's Gate 3 that's kind of in that mix for a game of the year, and I am very, very excited to see what the world of gaming has to say about these games and who's going to be holding up the crown and sitting on the throne at the end of the year. So I mean, what an electrifying show that we've had today. And we can't thank you, the gamers, for tuning in live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And since you made it this far, you might as well subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss a live show. And Henrik, where can they go online to check out your content?
So I post on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And I do have a couple of series on those platforms that I post, where I talk about just like indie games that are, in development or are actually out and you can play. And I kind of give them a little bit of a shout out because they deserve the love. And there's actually some really great gems out there. So I would love to share that with people.
Hell yeah, man. It's been a lot of fun to follow along with you, Henrik. I'm so stoked that you are bringing that to your channel, because it's definitely working out. I mean, there's been some sleepers that I didn't even know about, and you are definitely enhancing my gaming experience for sure. And I also want to let people know we developed on the ChrisCollinsShow.com page a Rage Quit tab. So if you want to go on there, you can definitely find that. It's under the podcast tab. Also, you can explore the pause or repeat page where you can watch all of the pause or repeat segment conversations that HenricK The WrecK and I have had over the past 2 seasons. So if you want to go ahead and binge watch it, come on, fam. Let us know what's good. Comment, and we will definitely engage with you on our channels. But for now, enjoy the rest of the week, fam, and we will see you next week. Peace.
See you next week.
That's right, baby.